Hello?
Hello, Mr. President.
Oh, how are you, Mr. President?
I'm
Where are
fine.
you?
How are you?
Where are you now?
I am in London,
You are in London.
and I'm flying to Singapore in 1 or 2 days.
Okay, thank you.
Unfortunately, we will not have you this time.
Look, I should like, but there is a celebration of my university for his branch in Buenos Aires, and I am obliged to go there for everything.
Yeah, it's very good.
Yeah.
And I've already spoken to my friend. His name is Martin Guzman. He was former Minister of Economy of Argentinian government. Now he's professor at Columbia. And I've spoken to my friend. He's one of the most successful businessmen in Argentina. His name is Eduardo Ernequian, that airport owner.
He is the owner of the airports.
Yes, many. So they'll be very happy to meet you.
Well, look, I would look like also because I know that he owns Italian airports also.
Yeah, and it is on the 4th of December is his birthday. He's becoming 91.
Please, can you send me to my mail all his address, telephone number?
I will. And can I give your telephone number to Martin Guzman? Okay, very good.
Of course.
Excellent. So shall we start recording for our conference?
We start everything. I am your slave.
Mr. President, I'm so happy to have you participating, although virtually, in our conference. The title of our conference is about life. It's about health, well-being, and longevity, and looking at many aspects of this. It's not a medical conference. It just looks overall at the issues, and it's called Advanced Tomorrow, ATOM, which it means Advanced Tomorrow. We are looking into the future. What is going to happen to us on the front of health and well-being and longevity, and what is necessary to be done. And our first panel is called Life and Geopolitics. Mr. President, you have been in politics of global scale for many, many years. And I think I would love to hear your first remarks about how politics and general geopolitics or decisions made by politicians are affecting our being and our lives, and how do you think that it affects health, well-being, and lives of people all of these years?
Thank you for the invitation. Sorry not to be with you, but next year, I hope, because if there is longevity, I hope to profit about longevity, you know.
And you will. You will. You have the right energy and a youthful behavior, Mr. President.
But look, the problem is that now there is this obsession about demography, you know, in the world. The problem of growing countries, not growing countries, decreasing, you know, and I see that this is a general trend of mankind to decrease the rate of birth. Of course, if you start from 7 children per woman, you still have 3. But there is this general adaptation of mankind to a new era. So mankind has grown with an equilibrium between a very high level of death and high level of birth. Then we have the 7, 8 generation of disequilibrium. Now we are going in the direction of a new generation of equilibrium, a low level of of birth, and this is unlucky, but low level of death also, and this is lucky. And so I don't know which will be the second, but we have to adapt our society to this new reality. This is the aim of the politicians, not easy, because first of all, you have two great instruments for that you have to use. First of all, food and health. Let's say, of course, health is said that you must have a healthy life, sport or moving and so on, healthy food, but also to have a system, a care system that it takes care of you, And in this, Europe is still the only place really advanced in the world, in the terrible 20th centuries had in the 20th century, Europe had made many mistakes, two terrible world war, but one virtue was welfare state to guarantee health care for everybody. And if you look statistics, we are better than anybody else. But, and we go to politics, now this is in danger because the cost of it's exceeding, in many cases, the budget of the different countries. And so we have this moment in which we must guarantee to everybody health care, old age, but nobody wants to pay the price. If you ask for increase in taxation, you lose the elections. Now, there are two issues in which you lose election: taxation and migration, all linked to the subject of our conversation, And so now the real difficulties is to keep health care for everybody, but how to organize it in order that is compatible with the budget. But
yes,
sorry.
No, go ahead, Mr. President.
No, because you have also to reform your pension system. You have to prolong our work age, but generally the electorate says the majority of old people who don't want to vote against themselves. This is the democratic trap, in which you don't adapt the political institution to the demographic change of the world.
And that creates, that creates some, of course, conflict between the desire of helping people to live longer, the desire to help them to, in the later stage of their lives, to get the pension. But on the other side, the politicians who are pushing the retirement age higher and higher, they are most probably going to lose the elections as you predicted. And it's very difficult to bring common sense in this sort of a behavior. I think there's also one thing which is important, that you rightly said that the highest level of healthcare and well-being is in Europe. Can Europe's model be a model for other countries, like in Latin America or in Africa or elsewhere?
Not easy, because this is linked to high level of taxation, no doubt about it. And so if you are not accustomed to this habit, how can you increase taxation from, let's say, 15% to 30%? Impossible. To may adjust, to make small change, so will not be easy, and it's not easy also for China. is not a problem of the capitalistic world, is a general problem. And look, the problem that, as I repeat, to adapt society to the new need, more healthcare, more, let's say, institutions that will protect all people, higher number of years of working, because otherwise you don't find the money to do it, and a high level of taxation. This is not easy. This is not easy.
If we go on the fundamentals of healthcare and healthy life, what we are doing definitely is mostly healthcare. And I was thinking that there are ideas that have a different meaning. Like, for example, if the government is entitled to protect its own citizens, here it comes the issue of security of these people. That's why the government is spending money on creating defense institutions and the army and many other things to protect also people from terrorism and so on and so forth. Now, there are new ideas that people speak about. It is that food security, that people are entitled to get n number of calories from good quality of it through food and everything, that we have to think about organizing the international trade in a way, and trade of wheat, trade of fertilizers, and so on and so on, to cover the food security worldwide. Of course, there is a word that speaks about water security. That people have to have access to water in many places. And there is a third one, for example, which is about climate security. But nobody speaks about health security. So in the case of health, we have health care, which in many cases is that if you have individual that has lost already health, that individual goes to the doctor, and the doctor has to take care of the illness. He's taking care of your health. But not much is spent money in order to work for health security, i.e. going deep inside biostructure of our body and find new ways of preventing illnesses, and not leaving, for example, cancer reaching specific level and then trying to help it. So my question is, don't we have to think about moving our agenda from healthcare to health security, spend for several years more money on research on biology, biological sciences, medical sciences, then we will spend less money on healthcare?
Well, look, clearly, healthcare directly is more influential to individual life, you know. But the environment, you have perfectly described it. You need also to help this with additional walls that will protect it. But clearly, because the budget is always limited, you have to choose. And healthcare is more directly linked to the individual welfare.
Yes.
And others are more linked to the collective welfare, you know, are two different issues. And this is the problem we have. Clearly, in you underlined another contradiction. Correctly, you told that you need to protect, and so on, and so on, and so on. But now, in the last 10 years, and even more in the last 2 years, the world expenditure on armaments and defense is heavily increasing. And clearly, there is a competition with the expenditure in healthcare or welfare, or let's say school, or all this that makes protection to the individual. This is a choice, but this does not depend upon the individual. This depends upon Look, the world political situation, and now the problem of taking care of the individual life is clearly in danger because of the wars, of the political tension, that everybody is afraid now, not only in Ukraine or in Israel, but everywhere feels the necessity to increase what you called collective defense, collective protection. You call protections, and but we have to be honest. There is a contradiction. There is a contradiction. They all say butter or guns is still a problem.
Yes.
It's a choice.
And I think it's an unfortunate one because it looked like that after the COVID, when the world saw this global pandemic. I think we humans could have been becoming more prudent and understanding that we are very, very vulnerable, and think more about how to take care of our lives, our livelihood, or our welfare or health. But instead of that, the recent 2-3 years are showing that instead of that, we are going to something which is illogical, creating new wars and new conflicts. So definitely there is something more deeper than just pandemic of COVID-19. Maybe there's a pandemic of political common sense or absence of it. What do you think, Mr. President?
No, I think I always was thinking about that, but you know why? The two, let's say, the two events are not incompatible, because COVID is clearly a problem that pushes you to take more care and so on. But psychologically, you always tell that COVID is coming from outside. So instead of joining people in a common battle, has divided people. Remember, COVID China, COVID, but the vaccine, American vaccine versus Russian vaccine, it was, instead of being an instrument of aggregation, this has been an instrument of division, but totally logical. But this was life. I hoped that COVID could be a lesson to people, something to learn. No, we didn't learn. We didn't learn at all.
Is there a message to global leaders via the conference that is focusing on human life or human health? What it should be done these days from someone that has spent all his life thinking about the welfare of people, of millions of people, especially not only in Italy, but in Europe? I think, will you say a couple of words of a message?
Look, I was using 3 words: school education, sports activity in some way, and organization of welfare, healthcare, and welfare. These are the three instruments, especially prevention. But we go with the prevention that is more important than specific care. We meet another problem, that prevention costs a lot. Then you save money. But when you decide, let's say, to screen a lot of people in order to, you have to spend money to organize a public. But I repeat, the 3 words are school, health, and movement, calories spent.
Well, Mr. President, on this very wise advice to not only politicians worldwide, but to every human being, I would like to thank you for your contribution to our conference. and we're looking forward to have you in good health in our next year's conference.
Yeah, well, old age is already come. Good health is still existing. Let us hope in the future. Thank you.
I'm looking forward to see you, Mr. President,
Next year.
at our conference next year. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Bye-bye, and have a good day,
Bye-bye.
Mr. President.
Bye-bye, Mr. President.